Good. So welcome to round 13 of Tier 5, as we have, looks like, a record-setting amount of people in Tier 5 today. As I have no game sound, which is odd. Oh, no, there's the game sound. There's just... Oh, come on, really? Just not... Harrison played with... Yeah, hold on a second here, folks, if you're here. Oh, lowercase l's. Oh, there you are. Hello. As we got my co-commentator in. That was a whole elf. As Butters goes as the first lap on the track, with Butters almost full 3 seconds ahead of this year.
Right now, the top two really set kind of more of the pace. Mike Andrade coming about 3 seconds behind. I think he was more just kind of pacing his laps and feel out the track, but I feel like he'll probably get more pace underneath him the later we are in qualifying, as a Bad Hunt House just now ran a 116.8, putting him provisional P3 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm expecting some mid-15s, high 14s coming in for pole and top 30 here. Definitely going to be, I'm guessing, a close bunch of cars here.
Yeah, normally the top 10 are normally really close to pace for sure. Sometimes at the back of the field they may seem like stragglers, but they're always in contention, because racing can get a little wild, it can get a little hectic, as most motorsports are, but in here some times.
Ow.
Well, the driver that's actually getting ready to start his out lap is going to be XXX Books. He just now finished his out lap and starting his first flyer lap of the session. Ahead of him is Slingshot. He's on his lap as well. But if you want to stay on Books for a bit, as he just started his lap coming through the first two little chicanes. Now this section of the track that he's getting ready to come up to, this very fast left kind of kink. What's kind of your take on that? I find that to be a very tricky corner.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to hit the brakes at all there, in my opinion. You just want to pretty much jump the corner going idle, and then hopefully you keep your car straight line going into kind of idle long right-hander.
Yeah.
Guys, voice cracks kills me.
No, you're good, man. That chicane that kind of medium right-hander goes out to, that inside curve can also catch drivers out really well. Probably look for people to spin, but that next really tight chicane with those high sausage curves, sometimes see a few cars kind of fly through there. I know that's caught me out 1 or 2 times. How about yourself?
Oh yeah, definitely. This whole track each corner can catch you if you're not paying close attention to it. As Books goes, a 16.8, putting him at P8.
Not a bad time for the Mercedes driver. Normally he's a little bit faster on pace. He could be going for another lap here, but not sure what he's playing at the moment. One Mercedes driver that's really to watch out for is Watchman. He's really been setting pace these past few weeks, getting almost pole on the normal, basically, for him. When he's not in the top 3, you know something's up. So he's one guy to look out for.
I have to agree with you there.
But some guys have been really just kind of perusing through the season. Slingshot had some pretty runs throughout the season, top 5s, few top 10s, but near the back of the field. But that's not a bad thing. It keeps him getting points. He hasn't really finished out of the points positions in a while. I think besides maybe 1 or 2 races, just where he got involved in a few collisions. But sometimes that's what it takes to win championships.
Yeah, just gotta stay consistent, keep your nose clean, and you'll find your way near the top. Is normally how these things go.
For sure.
As Zach goes purple sector 2. Coming around the last 2 corners, or hairpins. Pretty clean, almost losing ERS coming on the front straight. He will go P3, which is not bad at all.
Not a bad time from Zach Bartley at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if Zach the Beast finds himself up there as well with his teammate. The 2 Williams drivers in the past few weeks have really found unbelievable pace, as Zach the Beast had his first win, I think, of the season at France, and what was probably the closest finish Tier 5 has had this season, or probably will have this season, as it came down literally to the line. Even though penalties may have played a part, he straight up beat out Watchman right at the line. He was ecstatic about that, and ever since then, both Zach Bardsley and the Beast have really just been up at the top. They have not let up off of that momentum, and looks like they're going to try and keep that forward with their quali pace.
Yeah, I have to agree. Definitely a team effort of just sheer momentum going into each race. Just see a great team finish race after race ever since France. So definitely that's a team to watch for the Constructors' Championship.
Another team driver that's been doing really well is Ron Swanson. Unfortunately, his teammate isn't here, and it kind of loaded me into his car. Still don't know how that happened, but Ron just out here by himself. But he always is just pushing the car to its limits. Always seems to find his way, even if he falls down the order back in the top 5, always near the podium. And that's really good because that keeps him in the hunt for the championship. And I think he's actually maybe close to the points lead, if not in the points lead. There's a few other drivers moved up through the series.
So yeah, so the points leader of Tier 5 is Zach the Beast, but with Bad Hunt House 31 points behind. So nearing the end of the season, Bad Hunt has some work to do to hopefully catch up for that Drivers' Championship.
Yeah. Bad Hunt House is actually a really, really good driver. He just sometimes gets caught up in just accidents that aren't even his fault. Same with Hench, and they'll both be going for the podium, and then either a back marker or they'll just put too much pressure on themselves and make a little mistake will cost them, or someone might end up making a mistake in front of them and they can't avoid it. So both of those drivers are really good, and Bad Hunt House can get a string of really good finishes from here to the end of the season and finish slightly ahead of the Beast. It could come down to the final race of the year for only being 31 points.
Yeah, being a really good driver and being a lucky driver is completely different things when it comes to F1 racing. As looks like Mike on a flying lap. He's looking clean through sector 2. See if he's up, and ooh, as he was a second off, but loses the rear end and takes off his front wing. So that looks like he's going to the pits and hopefully getting a final run on softs.
And it looks like Hinchman may have just started his flyer lap. He just got through the first chicane, getting ready to go down to the really fast king. This is such a tricky corner because if you put too much of your car on the curb on the right, you find yourself out and around due to the grass. But if you try and cut in too early, you're cutting the corner. See a lot of corner cuts and possible accidents happening there, at least at the start of the race.
Oh yeah, or when people are getting desperate to make a move happen near the end too. As Henchman goes purple sector 2.
Yep, and he's coming through sector 3 at the moment. Just these two turns, the finals they seem really easy, but these can actually gain or lose you time tremendously, especially the exit onto the front stretch. And that puts him up in the P2, the 15.4, just beating out Ron Swanson by only about 7/700ths of a second. But it's actually 4/10 off Bone Shaker, who did improve on his time. He did have a 15.2, but now almost down in the 14-second range. Good time for him.
Yeah. Bone Shaker's definitely a fast driver. Just he needs to keep clean throughout the race and hopefully have a strategy worth keeping him up into P1 all race. As looks like Wavy is coming through sector 2 on his flyer, hoping to get a time on the board. Looking nice and tidy coming to the second to last corner. Rounding the final corner. Good. Put as much power the car will give him, and that will shoot him up to P12.
Oh, and I think we may have missed Zach Bardsley. He wasn't a flyer, but the 15.1 puts himself into P2. Great run from him. Trying to find out where Zach the Beast might be. He's still in the pits, so it seems like he's waiting till the second to go out. And it looks like Zach Bardsley is pleased with that time, so he pulled up the track and has retired. So I think that's as fast as he's thinking he's going to go. So we've got about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so we still have time for other drivers to really pound out some really good lap times here. The final minutes, see any surprise drivers making it to the top?
I can see Zach. I've been watching Zach the Beast through the last few races, and he's been looking scary, just blistering fast when he needs to be. It's just he's been unlucky with hitting other drivers, losing his front wing, or just getting into situations where he just doesn't win.
Yeah. Sometimes it pays to be a little bit lucky on the driver's side, but he definitely has the skill to do it. Just needs to have a little bit of luck come his way. Schwinn still sitting P4. Ron Swanson slightly improving upon his time with a 15.3. I think that might be the fastest that he's going to go, but I think he may be on a lap. He's going on
He's
the pits.
invalidated. Yeah. So that's probably Ron Swanson done. That looks like Butters is on a flyer coming just to the end of sector 1. Carries a bunch of speed through the corner. Just even with his time. Coming around, making sure to be as close to the curb as possible, but not touching it so he won't spin. Through the chicane. Using as much track as possible. Nice and neat. Coming through the combo of different chicanes. And he's up by 3 tenths in Sector 2, making the purple Sector 2. Coming around the final corner. Will he improve? He does to P3. Wow.
Good
Pretty
job.
sure that's the Pretty sure that's the highest he has qualified, if I remember correctly.
Yep, I think that's the highest position that Butters has been able to qualify. Previous was P5, so really good job from him. Glad to see that he's getting pace in the car. This may be a good race for him. He normally kind of struggles on the later runs. He does have initial pace, but kind of has a fall off. But I think just the way he's kind of setting the tone of his car today is that he might have the pace to stay in that position. But we'll have to see how the race unfolds. There's a few other updates to the field. Watchman making it up to P7, Zig up to P9, Mike still sitting in P8. I think he's in a lap. And the two Renault drivers not doing too great, as Dark Flash is literally trying to speed to the end. He's trying to get one more lap in. Coming to the final sector, but... Oh no, he spins!
Oh, come on, man. Get the car straight.
He might be able to make it. He's got about 15 seconds. Oh, I think his tires are too hot.
Cool those tires. You got 10 seconds to get around one corner, man. Come on.
It's
Nice
gonna
and
be
easy.
close. As the Ferrari in front of him, Henchman, I think, is on his lap now, so they're both trying to knock in final laps. Hopefully they don't hold each other up, but Dark Flash able to make it onto the lap. Maybe couldn't make it. Zach the Beast, I think, is on his out lap. No, I think he's on his lap right now. He literally waited till the very last second to do his run, so Zach the Beast will get a time in. As the drivers are going to be to the start-finish line before he is. Mike Andrade still be Dark Flash coming through the sector with Henchman right in front of him. Let's see how both of them get through here. Henchman gets through it well. Dark Flash a little bit on the sausage curb, getting ready to go through the double chicanes. Kind of back to back. Each one of these giving their own challenge. Really got to maximize the revs in the first and be able to maximize the exit on the second to get the speed. As Dark Flash validated. So his time is done. Henchman, he's invalidated, so his time is done. So both the drivers out. The only driver that has, or only two that have times left, as Bone Shaker goes to a 114.5.
Whew. And Zach the Beast improves to P7 from last.
With his,
and I believe Gas Smoking is the last driver to have a lap, as looks like he parks his car on the final corner.
So he ran a little bit wider, tried to go into the pit lane.
I've done that a few times.
He knew his time wasn't going to be up there, so he just was stuck, thinking best just to go ahead and park it.
Yeah.
Not bad. For qualifying.
Yeah, not a bad qualifying, yeah. Big surprise is Butters being in P3. Just really out of character for him to be almost in the podium spot to start out, or be in the podium spot to start the race out.
Yeah, being near the front of the grid for sure can help out, as there is your top five. Bone Shaker in P1, Zach and the Williams in P2, Butters coming home as prize P3, Ron Fonts in P4, and Henchman in P5, followed by who's second in the championship, Bad Hunt House, who is needing to be out there. And then Zach the Beast coming on P7. Watchman in a surprise P8. Would have really thought that he had more pace in that Mercedes.
No, Watchman's more of a... He sets his car up for the races. He's slower in the quali, but he's so much faster in the race, I've started to realize. He's just a scary, in the middle of the pack racer.
And sometimes what you gotta do is, if you know that you can have a better race pace than it is for a quality pace, if you know you can... Oh, man!
Ooh!
This definitely turns things a whole new direction.
So this probably explains why everybody was going on the softs. We got an interesting one here, folks.
Yep. And maybe why Watchman was so far off the pace and a few others because they saw that it was going to transfer into rain and they may have had a rain setup on the car.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so those that do have a dry setup on the car that may have set a really fast time are now looking at it like, really, the only thing that you can do is put the same amount of wing on the front wing, hope for the best, and really just kind of get through the
Yeah,
race as best you can.
Yeah, you gotta drive your heart out now if you have your dry setup on.
And it doesn't look like it's going to be light rain either. It looks like it's going to be a downpour. It's going to be a telltale sign off the slat, basically. Or it's actually right to green.
Okay, straight to green. As we had 5 lights, and it looks like an end plate's already off, coming down, all racing down to turn 1.
And a Red Bull into the wall. That was bad, Hunt House.
I'm pretty wow, full wets, and it looks like nobody is happy with this, and looks like we have a VSC?
A huge crash.
Safety car.
Huge crash coming out of the first turn. Turned into a parking lot real quick, and just look at the car's understeering. The track is so wet.
And Butters is out.
Not entirely
That's
sure what's going on in the background. Drivers all stopped coming out of turn 2. I was gonna say P2. Looked like they were trying to get a position back as the safety car came out, and I think they've got it all figured out. But what a wild opening to the race! Just rain, chaos. Looks like Spa from '96.
I wasn't alive when that race happened, so I have no idea what happened there.
Oh. May have gotten the date wrong, but hopefully no one will crucify me for that, but...
Yeah. I wasn't alive for any of the good races, so...
Yeah. It's alright. Well, I got YouTube to go back and watch them.
Oh yeah. As Watchman shoots up to P2.
Yep. He avoided all the chaos that was out of turn 1, just snuck by on the inside.
Both Mercedes going up over 6 positions on the start.
And we got some people actually coming into the pits. They're already on the wet tire. I wonder if they're thinking intermediates, but I would think it'd be too heavy for that.
Could be wing damage.
Yeah, it's possible. I'm trying to see if they either one do have wing damage.
Yeah, looks like everybody's getting wing damage and a new set of wets.
Guess there was a lot more contact through turn 1 than expected, but we did see an end plate fly over top of the Rolex walkover, so definitely could see that there was some contact going on. But as of right now, back up, it's all single file. Get a good start back to the race. Get back to racing.
Yeah, so it looks like books with everybody pitting and getting new wings. We have a Mercedes 2-3 right now, and Watchman, knowing his race pace, looks really in the seat to get P1.
Yep, Watchman always a rival for P1 no matter what, but with the rain now incorporated, I see a lot of corner cuts. Or at least penalties for possible corner cuts from cars sliding out, extending track limits. Just the track is so just wet, and with really nothing down on the track, it's just gonna get worse throughout the race, especially if it turns into harder rain.
Yeah, and especially with no somewhat groove with the cars driving through, that no little dry spot is not helping whatsoever.
Especially with an all-wet tire, when running in that dry spot, your tire wear is going to shoot up tremendously, but you almost want to run in the wet, but you want to run the line.
So you gotta find, you need to find a happy medium there.
Yeah, it's like leading to the turn on the front stretch. You could run the whole entire right side in the wet, cut back to left where the dry spot is. Just try and keep the tire wear down. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategy people are going to do throughout the race. I would think you'd be able to do just a one stop, but could be wrong. Could see a two stop here today. Check out the pace car, it's got a rainbow over the actual quarter panel of the car. Just caught that out of the side of my eye.
Yeah, gotta love Cody's put a brand new paint job on the pace car, but still can't figure out track limits.
I do it one thing at a time, man.
Okay, just want praise them where we can.
Pretty much. As it looks like Henchman and Zig are catching up to the tail end of the field.
So yeah, so we might have one more lap of safety car, which will dry up the track, hopefully giving more grip to the drivers so we can have closer racing. And we can actually watch a Formula 1 race and not a Formula Drift race.
Might see a bit of both today, if anything. Especially from a few
If we
drivers.
get both, I'm okay with that. That'll be entertaining.
I wouldn't complain about that at all. Making a pass on the inside sideways. Be pretty cool to see.
Can't say I haven't done that before.
Hey! Alright, and it looks like... Yep, we're going to run one more lap underneath safety. Then we will be picking up on... hopefully the next lap. I know watching cars drive underneath safety and watch them slowly catch the way up as two more drivers are in the pits. It looks like Zach the Beast and Wavy. Both of them coming in for another set of wets from what it looks like. That are taking a penalty. It looks like Zach was held in there for about 5 seconds.
Yeah. Is the rain? Looks like the rain's lightening up a little bit on my end. Can you confirm?
When focusing on the front car, you can see it's still coming down kind of heavy, but it does look like it leads through the back of it. It's kind of a little bit of a different story. It looks like it is lighting up a little bit.
So yeah, when I saw Zach and Wavy going in the pits, I'm like, oh, they're gonna put on inters because the rain's looking a bit lighter, but looks like I was wrong.
It looks like... yeah, it actually does look like the rain is starting to light up a little bit. So this is going to be an interesting development.
As safety car is in.
And Bone Shaker really slowing up the field.
As people are still getting 5-second penalties in this wet condition.
I don't know what's going on in the background, because where Ron Swanson is, they are all bunched up together. They're so separated from the rest of the field that's going green right now, but... we look back up at the leaders, Watchman, Brooks, and it looks like Watchman goes way deep into turn one.
Yeah, Bone Shaker already has a 1.7 lead on Books and Watchman. Look, people are going on the intermediate. Slingshot, Zach, Gas Smokin', Bad Hunt, and Henchman. Well, besides believe Bad Hunt's got to go into the intermediates. Yeah, have all gone on for the intermediate. So
I think that's really a smart decision on the drivers because they're seeing that the rain is lightening up, but I think it might still be a little bit too heavy for the inters. But it's really at an in-between phase where neither tire is really going to benefit or help you out too much, so it's really kind of a guessing game. But if you look at the gap from P5 all the way to 6, there's about 5 seconds. There's really big confusion at the start between a few drivers that may have just either got caught up next to each other or something happened and it looks like there's a caution.
Ooh, as Books overpowers the second to last hairpin and just loses the rear end, loses a spot to Watchman and Caesar. As Caesar's going into the pits, which I'm guessing for inners.
And now Jack Carl all over the gearbox of Books. See how they go into turn 1. It looks like Books might go a little up on the brakes, but Jack Carl going to get right around apex. Slowly reeling him in. And it looks like he's actually going for the move. They're side by side in the turn 2. As Books trying to go at the inside. Ooh, almost contact. Good job for the two drivers staying out of one another. And it looks like Jack Carl sees himself up into P3.
Yeah, we're seeing a good showing from both AlphaTauri and Mercs here in the race. As most of the field have opted to go to the inners, as Bone Shaker extends his lead to a 5.5 seconds.
Yeah, but what's going to be interesting is with those that have already pitted for inners, if they have already set themselves up for their basically just how they want to pit and their pit selection, the people up front at those wets start to wear quicker and it turns into more of an inner track. They'll have to make the pit stop and then you'll start seeing pretty much the whole entire field almost next to one another. That gap will definitely close down between the top 3 to the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Bone Shaker's now going in the pits. As it looks like Books has lost it again with the wet tires.
Yep, luckily it doesn't look like he has any damage, which is good for him. But those tires have to be overheated.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes in the pits here for a new set of inners.
Yep, there he goes now. As Bone Shaker, even with the lead that he had, is going to come out P4 ahead of Slingshot, who pitted, keep in mind, he pitted for inners and was at P13 not even just a lap ago. And now Slingshot is up into the top 5 right behind who our leader was, with 3 drivers in front that still need to pit that are on the wet tire. Look for Watchman.
Yeah, Slingshot. Yeah, Slingshot might be a very a benefactor to pitting early for the inners, because he just looks like he's getting faster and faster with the drying conditions. It looks like they both are catching up to Dark Flash. Still on the...
Yep, and he is pretty much the cap hitting for everybody, because he and only 2 others were one of the first people to pit for those intermediate tires. And then the rest of the field just kind of followed suit that was right behind him, as he is now all over the gearbox of Dark Flash. Looks like he might be going past or side by side and maybe 3 wide. Looks like Zach keeps a better focus to let Slingshot go. And now, oh, contact between the 2 drivers.
Ooh.
That was wheel, and it looked like a racing incident possibly. The students may have to look after that for sure to see what exactly went down right there. But from my perspective, I couldn't tell how he may have squeezed or something may have happened, but we'll just have to check back in on that later. As Bone Shaker now back in the lead.
Yeah, and Slingshot and Zach look like they're battling for P2. And it seems like Slingshot will retain P2 for now, but Zach has really not backing off as he goes in the inside with a safety car. Where is that?
Oh.
That's Books.
Yep, Books. It looks like he wrecked through that fast left-hander. that little kink that we were talking about earlier, where if you get too much on the curb, you'll see yourself out and around, and it looks like he may have seen himself out and around right there. At least on my screen, that's where it showed his car was parked. Safety car number 2. Now this is going to be interesting because we just had technically green flag pit stops, but now, what do you think the driver is going to do?
Well, if you ask Jeff and he says the rain's going to continue, you want to, I think you just stay with the inners and you go for basically a 2-stop to another set of inners right around lap 23, 24, maybe. Yeah, no, 23, 24. Go on a new set of inners and go to the end of the race while the track is still wet. But I don't think anybody should pit here unless they have wing damage.
I'm just interested to see what some drivers may do. Or everyone's staying out, no one's really going into the pits. Because a lot of these drivers only have maybe 1 or 2 laps on their intermediate tires, so there really shouldn't be any reason to pit. And like you said, unless the driver has wing damage, everyone should really just stay out and run the race. Because now, I think everyone's almost on the same strategy. It's just depending on now is for the drivers that can take care of their tires longer, should they be able to pit a little bit early and make it last to the end?
Oh, and I think Zach lost a piece of his wing going to the back of Slingshot.
What happened there?
They were coming into the fast left-hander. I think Slingshot braked a bit earlier than Zach was anticipating, and Zach just ran into the back of Slingshot. So you might see Zach go into the pits, lose P3, and Slingshot looking really good right now to get a podium position.
Yeah, definitely can see Slingshot getting a possible podium, but it is still pretty early in the race. Anything really can happen. We still have 25 laps in the race. I'm kind of surprised we've already made it through 10. It doesn't even feel like we've been racing for that long. I think it's because we ended up not having the first out lap with the drivers going around the track and we went straight to green.
Oh, yeah, we started NASCAR style. That's what I'm saying.
Yep, straight from green. As here comes Zach into the pits. I kind of feel sorry for him because he's going to end up putting on a fresh set of intermediates, so don't get me wrong, I'll still help him out. As I am somehow P3. Don't know how that's happening, but
great job.
I appreciate it. I don't know how I'm in there at all. But tell that my other person, you know, we're gonna ignore that.
Yeah.
As Zach Bardsley leaves the pits, with him having fresher intermediates, don't get me wrong, it's only a few laps on everyone else's tires. I still think he'll be able to pick his way through the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, and do you think he can take those intermediates for 25 laps? And I'm guessing 1 or 2 of those laps are going to be under the safety car. So if he's really nice to the tires, I think he can make it to the end. But it's highly unlikely.
Yeah.
If I'm familiar.
I agree with you on that strategy. He can do it once. This could literally be his final stop, and he can make it to the end. But he really needs to watch how hard he's pushing the car, because if he overcooks the tires, and even just one turn, it will just ruin the rest of the strategy and end up having a puncture. But if he can at least start off the race well, pick his way through the field, and find himself near the top, and the top drivers start pitting, I think he can get away with a later pit stop than the other drivers. Or he can do an undercut like he is now and just race into the end. So right now he has 2 options available to him. It's just going to depend on if he can pick his way through the field and find himself more towards the front of the field than at the back.
Yeah, safety car is in. As Bone Shaker looks like he's get a good getaway from Slingshot. And we are back under green.
Yeah, and it looks like the rain is lightening up more and more as we go through the race. Not really a heavy downpour at all, so this could also throw a whole other strategy ball into this game. As everyone's really single file as, Mike Andrade making a good path in the Ferrari. And the Ferrari holds him on the outside, and there's slight contact. Mike is around on the inside of the track. The rest of the drivers being able to do a evasive action to get around him. And Zach Bardsley.
But we will stay under green.
Zach Bardsley making a great pass right before the King. And a little bit into the backside was Dark Flash.
Yeah, Dark Flash did lose his left end plate on his wing. Oof.
With Zach may have had the pass done, he was pretty much a full car length ahead. But it's going to be down to the stewards once again on that decision if that is sent in for review. But Zach Bardsley already found himself 2 positions up from where he started. And we have another yellow safety flag. It looks like another driver is around.
That looks like a Ferrari?
Henchman.
A very slow Ferrari.
Henchman.
Yeah, Henchman.
It looks like Henchman was around. Dark Flash going up the inside, and a Ferrari almost spinning right in front of him. They're side by side.
And that's Jack Carl hit the inside wall. Looks like no wing damage, no visual wing damage.
And the rain has stopped, and now drivers are all diving into pit lane. Zach Bardsley's still out on track on the intermediates, but the rain has completely stopped here at the track. And everyone at the back of the field oh man, it is stack up city in the pit lane. Everybody double stack, double file in the pit lane. Everyone saw what was happening at the last second with the top 6. Slingshot pitting and being the first on medium tires, so he's going to try and make those last till the end. So he may be done on pitting. But what about everybody else on intermediates?
Yeah, top 6 all on intermediates, all a good distance away from each other. And everybody that pit for the slicks, Slingshots on the mediums, which will be a stretch to the end. And it looks like Zach has spun. Oof. Caesar's on hard, so he's definitely going to the end. You're on the softs. That's a interesting strategy from you. Softs. Weird play. Looks like everybody's either going for the stretch on the mediums or just staying safe and going with the hards. As our leader Bone Shaker has now entered the pits. And DRS is enabled.
Watchman and Zach, the drivers kind of struggling on the intermediates are Dark Flash and Jack Carl. And Slingshot's already to the backside of him. He's already made up the time. But Jack Carl making another lap on the intermediates. He missed the pit lane. Those tires have to be screaming at the moment.
Slingshot looking on the inside. And he easily makes it down with the medium tires. And, ooh, as he loses it and hits Caesar.
Collecting one of the AlphaTauri. Oh! And a Mercedes big wiggle. Not entirely sure who that was. Watchman, incredible save. Got nicked and was just dead sideways. I don't know how he brought that car back. But I got a feel for the Alfa Romeo of Caesar just getting caught up in something that wasn't even his fault.
Yeah, going back to our earlier conversation, being a lucky driver is so much easier than being a good driver. And Caesar there was not the lucky driver.
Yep, that's where luck can either give you a yay or nay. He definitely ended up just getting a hard no on that one. Just unlucky where he was at and just got involved in something that really he shouldn't even have been involved in to begin with. As Bone Shaker has now walked away with a 10-second lead, but from second to fifth, second between them as Let's say as I pull onto the inside of him. And okay, I don't know what's going on there. We're just gonna ignore that because
Yeah, Slingshot lost 2 positions there if we're including you as a racer here.
yep, I am sitting in the booth in the spectator menu. I've taken a screenshot so that way I do not get yelled at for thinking that I am racing. I am in the booth, retired in pit lane, and exited the second and but yet it's still out a bot to race me.
Yeah, it looks like Jack Carl retired in the pits. So it looks like we have another slow Ferrari. Is that Zig?
I think that's Hinchman.
No.
Hinchman, yeah, he's still on the intermediates. I think he has a puncture. Yep, he has a puncture. So he's been nursing that car around the whole entire track with a puncture.
Yeah, that's certainly not going to help his race.
Yep, I think he may have missed the pits on those intermediates and went 1 lap too long and just had a puncture. But we are single file for the most part, but Wavy catching up to the back of Slingshot rapidly, now on the gearbox of him, as Zach Bardsley is trying to get around the McLaren that is in front of him. Which again is not me.
It's the AI, definitely not him. Wink, wink.
No wink winks here. I'm just saying. See if there is something that I'm.
You know, it looks like everybody's either a second off each other or a mile off. As it looks like Zig's on the back of Mike. He's got to look on the outside. They're touching a little bit, going side by side, but it looks like Zig does make the move stick on Mike as he takes a bit of grass with him. That looks like move done. As Zach looks like to make the move on the AI vehicle, coming on the outside. Side by side, Zach DRS and gets in front of the McLaren.
Good pass from Zach the Bees for round what actually should be a ghosted AI. By the way.
Just gotta clarify that. Just gotta clarify.
So it looks like the lobby settings are a little bit funky. We went instant green, AI car that is actually visible, not invisible like it should be. Ooh, as Gas Smoking with a great save, almost collecting Watchmen in Sector 2 through the chicane. Looks like from 4th to 8th. Actually 9th are all in their own little pack.
Yeah, Slingshot's is growing a huge tail behind him.
As Bone Shaker now sets the fastest time of the race. On
yeah,
medium
14
tire.
seconds out. He's in his own little race right now.
Yep, Bone Shaker as NASCAR guys would taught in their own zip code. He is definitely racing on his own time as everyone else is battling for position. Especially
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's already at Belgium.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain he's already at their second race on this from now. For sure, he is definitely just widening that gap, but one kid, Zach the Beast, if he can make up about a second a lap, he'll definitely close that gap and be on him at the end. That'll just be a race to watch.
Looks like Wavy got past Slingshot. As Slingshot is getting pummeled by almost everybody behind him. Just Slingshot does not look like to have the pace in the dry. So that wet setup really not helping him here in the mid stages of the race.
Well, hopefully, maybe if he gets a little bit more tire wear on the car, it can start kind of acting more like a wet setup, as you would start to get a little bit looser. But Watchman throws it around the outside. of Slingshot after a small mistake. But still a good showing from Slingshot. He is always a great driver on track and off track. He tries to keep it as clean as possible. Doesn't like really hitting any other drivers. If you could avoid collisions, he would 100% of the time. So still a good race from him. As
Yeah, you'll never see Slingshot in the stewarding room.
Never. Never at all. If you ever see him in there, that means someone really made him upset. Looks like Henchman.
Honestly, I don't want to know what Slingshot looks like when he's angry.
I wouldn't either.
He seems like the guy. Yeah, he just seems like the guy. If you make him mad, it's just you stay on the other side of the country.
If you make him,
As it looks like you have that's Zach letting everybody through. Good on him.
I guess he may have spun.
No, he slowed way down, letting everybody get through the chicane, not getting. He didn't want to mess anybody up or distract him with his ghost.
Gotcha. Good on
Which
him
is
for doing that.
Yeah, very very commendable. As Bone Shaker sets a new fastest lap.
Yep, so right now P1 and P2 are just kind of by themselves, putting in laps around the track as they pretty much have a secure position unless safety car happens or some type of accident occurs where virtual safety will be required, as Wavy, Henchman, and Ron Swanson are all having their own little battle, going at least through turn 1.
Yeah, and it looks like Bad Hunt House wants to be in there, and we have a safety car. Now, it looks to be that's Zig.
Yep, and
final corner.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I say, just like I was saying, for the first P1 and P2, unless something big happens, like a safety car or virtual safety, they are pretty much home sailing and have this position secured. But
So you curse them.
commentators curse.
As I'm surprised the medium runners aren't going in for another set of mediums just to have that security blanket of, yes, these tires can make it to the end, and you don't have to worry about that's in your face.
And
As that looks like Zach is going to do.
And Henchman ends up retiring in the pit lane. Not entirely sure what that was for.
Yeah, it looks like you're coming into the pits as well.
Smart.
Wavy, Ron Swanson, Bad Hunt House
Right.
coming in.
If I'm smart, I'll put on mediums.
Well, it's the AI, so we'll never know.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it is the
god!
mediums.
No way!
Yeah, you're making an excellent case for yourself here, man.
So sorry. I did what I could. I did what I was told. I retired in the quality session, but guess what? I don't know anymore, man. I'm just
Yeah,
here.
we'll just move everybody up a spot. So Slingshot looks like he stayed out. Well, it looks like Bone Shaker collected the safety car, so will he go in for a new set of mediums?
You see what that safety car says? It says something. It actually has writing.
Well, I'm pretty sure it says we race as one.
Ah. That's pretty cool. New little
Because he does
incorporation.
that. Yeah.
I will say they kind of offset that rainbow a little bit. I think that's supposed to be more of a wheel well.
Honestly, I don't question it. Slingshot does come in the pits. Looks like he missed it last time around.
Ron Swanson. Soon to be P6, I think. Heading on pit out for Slingshot.
And Wavy. Does he have wing damage?
It does. He is missing, it looks like, the flare on the left side. At least on my screen,
So
that's
that
what it's
puts-
showing.
So yeah, that puts Swan to P4 if we're subtracting the AI driver, and we are. So Slingshot goes to P5. Bad Hunt House is having a really good recovery drive here from the horrific wet start. And Wavy have to pit for a new wing. That puts him down to P8 behind Hunt House and right in front of Gas Smoking, so right in a Red Bull sandwich at the start.
And Wavy sitting in front of the two McLarens at the moment. I'm not sure. I don't think he beat the pace car out, which is a little weird because I wonder where he's at on track. I know it says he's in last, but I wonder if he's a lap down?
Yeah, one Williams and the McLaren that looks like he's in P2. They're both a lap down.
Alright, so funky things going on here at the racetrack.
We had a very interesting race, interesting driver, and we've been having an interesting time here in the commentating booth. So, can't really change it.
Yep, from this race started off, dry weekend, went to completely flooded. Slowly dried up in a matter of only 15 laps from absolute downpour to medium rain to somewhat dry to now it is sunny out, slight overcast.
So it sounds like you're describing Florida in a nutshell.
Seems like that's where we're at right now, and you know what, I'm kind of okay with that. This race has definitely been interesting. Granted, we have had quite a few safety car laps, but when the racing is going, it's definitely tight and it's definitely interesting, so...
Yes, interesting is probably the word to describe this race.
You
Not
know,
to be mean or anything, it's just interesting.
and it pretty much sums it up. Is Mike on? Andre is technically at the head. No, my bad. He's at the head. I think Bone Shaker was able to pick up the safety car right where it came out, so good for him.
Yeah, but he's on 7 lap older tires than Zach the Beast is, so I'm thinking Bone Shaker needs to build as much a lead as possible and maybe pit for softs near the end, unless he can stretch those mediums to the end without having a puncture.
I think he'll be okay, even with 7 lap old tires. I think he'll still be fine if he can keep at least a second gap to that second place and kind of manage that gap in a healthy manner. I don't think he'll have to make another pit stop because you don't want to push the tires too hard and risk that puncture like you were saying. But if he does and pits for soft, it's kind of a risk versus reward because you'll lose a little bit more time in the pits than you would just trying to make them last, as we're about to go green.
There's Bone Shaker yet again, trying to get a good takeoff from everybody, which seemed like he gets a little less of a dominant start than he normally has coming into turn 1, but with Mike behind him, seems like he's now managing a full second gap to Watchman.
Yeah, he just needs to can at that distance, so that way he can still build that gap away from the rest of the field, but not have to worry about pushing the car and roasting up the tires. But I think the setup that he has on that car is good enough where he feels he can push, because he's now up to about 2 seconds on Watson. Bad Hunt House and Gas Smoking exchanging positions. Gas just kind of letting his team fly for now, so that way.
Ooh,
Oh,
and
and we got a flames around. I think that was Barsley. It was Barsley. Luckily,
Yeah.
the pits are right there in front of him, so he can get that new wing.
Yeah, how convenient for Barsley.
As Zach the Beast is all over the gearbox, just on the inside of Watchman. Still a little bit there. Got a little sideways on exit. Still on the outside. They are wheel to wheel right now, going into the final kind of chicane part, and Watchman just squeezing them out. Ron Swanson making it around the AI of me.
You.
Yep.
Yes. We'll just say the AI of you for now.
AI of you. Wait, so I should say me. You know what? Never mind.
Yes, you should say as Gas Smoking retires.
He may have spun out. It looks like he is into the wall. Yeah. So we're on
yeah,
the
it's
virtual
that
safety car.
So it looks like he lost it on the fast left-hander.
So that would be the second car it's claimed today. Claimed books earlier and now.
Yeah, Gas Smoking, which it looks like he did hit the inside wall. Zach retired as well.
Yep,
So if one more person retires, that puts Mike. He's a lap down, but he still allows himself to get a single point from this race as we're back under green.
Well, if Mike can get around Bone Shaker that's in front of him, that would actually be really, really good for him, because then if there is another safety car, he can just rejoin back at the back end of the field and pretty much just take over from there.
As Under Caesar's going in the bottom of Dark Flash, just gets pushed into the infield of grass, and looks like he sits back behind Dark Flash and waits for another move.
And Slingshot fending them off pretty easily, as it looks like we may have a car around in sector 2, and we do. It was Mike Andre.
As Mike is around again. Cook those softs. So Mike might be going into the pits again, putting on a new set of softs as he does spin again. I'm just gonna switch off of him to hopefully save some embarrassment.
Well, anyways, Mike Andre is in the points. He is going to finish P10 regardless, because of the AI car that is still inactive.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the AI of you.
Yep, AI of me. As Watchman is getting 8 up from Zach the Beast, and there goes Zach Parts leaving the group. I was about to say, why do you leave? But it looks like Zach is still trying to find a way, and he goes for the undercut on Watchman. It makes it work, and Ron Swanson is going to follow. Watchman is in possibly 2 positions right there. Oh, and Ron goes to the inside. Ron Swanson trying to make the move, almost was catastrophic right there. Now he's going to have a great run going down in the kink. Kink's different of it. So good on his part. Now they're in the P2 and P3.
Yeah, and I think Watchman being on the older and harder tires, there's really nothing he could have done there. So, my guess, if I was Watchman, I'm going to try to stay as close as I can to Swanson, get DRS, and just hope I can keep P4, or hope Zach or Ron Swanson gets a 3-second penalty, one more of me, and steal a podium position away from me.
Yep, Zach the Beast, who's pretty much the championship. I think he is the championship leader, correct?
Yes, he is.
Yep. Him being in P2 is bad news for Bad Hunt House, but he isn't that far away. Bad Hunt House, if you have a really good lap in within a second of Watchman, and if Watchman can still remain in that, and Ron Swanson makes the pass on Zach the Beast. Kind of missed that in my fault.
Well, side by side actually, coming into turn 3, I believe. If you weird right-hand kink after turn 1, turn 2, as it looks like Ron Swanson's able to make that move, and if Swanson and Beast still battle, that allows Watchman to keep up, and that gives Bad Hunt House reason to push.
And that's all that Bad Hunt House needs, is for those guys to battle and slow each other down, so that way you can catch up. And if he can get around Watchman and be on the back end of Zach the Beast, that will put him in great contention because passing for that position is a huge point gain, 4th and 3rd. And if he can progressively work his way up to P2 and just keep passing, there's no way that I think he's going to be able to get P1 as Bone Shaker's already back up to a 5-second lead. But if Bad Hunt House can get around those 3 drivers in front of him and put Zach the Beast to 4th and him up in the 2nd, it'll definitely help him out in the point standings. You're pretty much single file on the racetrack, but if you check back, Slingshot and Caesar are having a pretty good battle.
Yeah, Caesar has the arrows and on overtake. Looks on the inside. Looks like he's going to make the move work and has DRS going down the little mini straight right after turn 1. So yeah, the closest battle we have right now is between P7, P8, and for P2 right now.
Yep, Zach the Beast, not really an overtake, just trying to stay within the 1 second of Ron Swanson. I think he's hoping for DRS or trying to get a run on him here on the front straightaway. Bad Hunt House starting to fall off the pace quite a bit. Those mediums may be starting to fade on him as his gap is now up to about 2.5 seconds from Watchman. This was a little bit closer before, but I think coming to this front straightaway right here, look for Zach to try and get a good run on Ron. I think he might be too far back.
Yeah, it just seems like Zach loses a bunch of time through the middle sections of this track and just gains it all back from the 2 DRS straights. Just staying within the 8/10 and 9/10. Looks like he does not have the pace behind Swanson.
I'm not sure if it may be the air playing a part on the cars, because dirty air, even on F1 cars, is still a thing around certain tracks. But it doesn't play as big as a role as it would in other sports. But it looks like Zach the Beast is starting to actually encroach on Ron Swanson a little bit through the center section. Got about a 10th off, but he had a bad exit that last turn. Kind of bouncing back and forth between 7th and 8/10 of a second. So the 2 drivers for P2 and P3 are really evenly balanced, but Bad Hunt House now starting to catch Watchman up. About a second in between. Watchman, I think, had a really big mistake as he's now 4 seconds behind Zach the Beast.
Well, it looks like Bad Hunt House is catching up to Watchman as well. So yeah, definitely, this race has turned into a chess match. More to a chess match now than it has an actual race. As Bone Shaker is getting closer to the puncture zone, I feel like. And it seems like his gap to Ron Swanson is also closing. So that's definitely something to watch. As I remember it being almost 5 seconds, lap 25, and it's closed down to 3.3.
Yep, if Ron can actually, if that's about 2 seconds per lap, if Ron can at least get within that 1 second on the final, or at least a lap before that, you could see the P2 and P3 starting to fight for P1. You could have all 3 of those drivers going for the win. As Bad Hunt House is now really on the backside of Watchman. I think he is really struggling on those hards.
Yeah, those hards should start fading away right around now. This looks like Caesar's gonna try to is on the gearbox of the AI of you. Coming through turn 1. But just doesn't look like he's close enough to make a move.
I would say if he was Ghost, he would be able to get around it pretty easily, but for some reason, the AI is not Ghost. Is not good. But we're gonna kind of peek more towards the front of the field as Zach is now within 6/10 of Ron Swanson. I think this is the closest he's been the previous few laps. He just really needs to put together these last two turns as Ron Swanson has cut 8/10 into Bone Shaker's lap times. Almost a full second now, so it really could come down to the final few laps between the top three.
So wait, you remember, what was it, Zach the Beast that got the win at France on the final corner, right?
Yep, he was able to do a cutback on Watchman in the very final turn and timed it perfectly and was able to have enough overtake to get just past him at the line. Granted, penalties did play a part in who won that race, but Zach was able to beat him straight up to the line. So we could see that again. Could even be 3 wide trying to get to the finish line, depending on what these guys end up doing, which could definitely be spectacular or catastrophic. But it looks like Shaker has now put his lead back up quite a bit. At that 3-second mark, it was cut down to about 2.7 there for a quick second, but he's gained about 5/10 back. But Zach is still cutting in around Swanson's time. Only about 5/10 between the two. I think he may be close this time if he get a good run. Both of them kind of even on both ERS and overtake.
Yeah, Bone Shaker just set a new fastest lap.
Yep, and Zach still trying to reel in Ron Swanson. I think both of them are about even on tire wear and pace. So it's kind of waiting on the other person to make a mistake, as Watchman now really on the backside of our Bad Hunt House, now really on the backside of Bad Hunt. Shoot. I'm trying to say the same sentence. Bad Hunt House is now on the backside of Watchman, pretty close, only about a few tenths separating the two of them. So look for him to maybe make a pass here in this intersection or be right on his gearbox, getting on the DRS straight.
Yeah, and it looks like Wavy and Mike are going in the pits for softs to try to go for the fastest lap. Trying to get that point away from Bone Shaker. As we have a Alfa Romeo around. Caesar.
Almost collecting slingshot. Very close indeed for those two drivers, almost making contact. That could have been both of them wrecked and out of the race.
Yeah.
As
it looks like Zach the Beast has backed off a bit too.
I'm not too sure what's going on there. I wonder if he's just thinking I shouldn't push the car and just kind of come home P3, but or he knows that he has more pace in the center section of the track.
Yeah.
But if you peek back to Bad Hunt House and Watchman, he's putting the pressure on.
As looks like Mike is going for fastest lap as Bad Hunt House collects a 3-second penalty.
Bad Hunt House all over the backside of Watchman. This could be the pass for P4 this lap, as we are coming to the final lap. Bone Shaker coming out of the final trying to start it, but the big battle right now is for P4.
Zach the Beast looks like coming into the main straight. And Bone Shaker started the last lap. Mike gets fastest lap for the time being. It looks like Ron Swanson's catching up almost 7/10 going through the first sector.
Looks like Bad Hunt House had a slight mistake on the exit that may have cost him the chance for P4. Everyone else kind of in their own position. It looks like everyone pretty much has a secured position at where they're finishing. Until we find out what penalties were at the end of the race. But Bad Hunt House just sees P4 position, and he is pushing. Hopefully he can get to him and be able to make the pass, but I think we're coming to the finish here at the end of the race.
Yeah. As he's coming around the last corner, Bone Shaker will be your your winner at Hungary, because I can't say the actual country name. Ron Swanson comes into P2, just under 2 seconds, so Ron Swanson gained almost a full second on the last lap. Zach the Beast coming in third with a 3-second. Watchman P4. And what happened to Bad Hunt as he's collected wing damage, it looks like.
It looks like he may have a puncture on one of the tires as well, so may have come to the final turn and it all went sour for him. So Bad Hunt House P5 and Caesar.
Caesar spinning.
Caesar's spinning salad. As he
honestly, I'm not surprised. Dark Flash P9 or P8 if we're excluding the AI of you. And Wavy, I'm guessing going for fastest lap. Looks like he was 6/10 up. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty good metaphor of this race, if I do say so myself.
Just hitting the wall.
Just hitting the wall. As you are the driver of the day.
I'm the driver of the day. Congratulations. I actually didn't do a damn thing.
Definitely an interesting race.
Oh, man. Alright, so there is your top 3. Bone Shaker with an absolute easy... Well, I wouldn't say easy. Well, I should say easy, but it's kind of... But great win for him today. With Ron Swanson and Zach the Beast battling it out hard for position 2. Came down to the end, and unfortunately it looked like Zach just couldn't get the job done. And fortunately for Ron, he will hold him till the end. Come home. But there is your top 3.
Yeah, and Zach the Beast extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship as well. As it's raining again. Not surprised.
And it looks like Andre, who finishes P10, will snag the fastest lap of the race with a 118.1. So kudos to him.
2 points. Yeah.
1 extra point than what you would normally go home with, but he was able to get the fastest time, so good for him. As we now have our top 3 in the party ready for our interviews. Wait.
Hey.
Waiting on Bone Shaker. Never mind.
He just dipped?
Possibly. Let me see if I can invite him back real. There he's getting an invite from me and being like, who's this?
You do have an interesting Xbox gamer tag.
No. It is 2 names, and I still don't know why. But we can go ahead and start the podium interviews with at least P3 and P2 for now, as we wait for P1 to come. Want to do that?
Yeah.
All you?
So Zach, P3, not a bad finish. Which, if you look at the Drivers' Championship, you're extending your lead on Bad Hunt House. But I'm pretty sure you wanted P2 as bad as you wanted a podium. So what happened? Did you just fall off the pace at the end, or was it just you backing off, not wanting to risk a DNF in the last 5 laps of the race on Swanson? Okay. But anyway, excellent drive from you, Zach. It really great recovery from the very wet start, difficult race. As we move to P2 with Ron Swanson, excellent drive, keeping Zach the Beast behind you the whole time, managing a gap. Excellent drive. That's all I can say. How was it going from almost a full tsunami to a nice day on the back porch? Well, yeah, you definitely got some work to hopefully claw into Zach the Beast lead in the Drivers' Championship. But excellent race from you. There's really nothing you can do when your car slides when you hit the brakes. So, Raf, would you like to take our leader or winner?
Yeah, I can do that. Bone Shaker, tremendous job today, even in the wet, medium weather conditions, and even when it dried up. You still seem to put in lap after lap after lap of continuously quick pace. Do you have that to credit to your setup? Do you have it to the tire wear? Or do you just have a really good feel for the track and just this was your race?
Say it was my race. I've been practicing like heaps today during the week. Haven't done much, but always done good at Hungary. So if I get some points after what happened in Britain, so
That's a good point. When the race started off in the wet, did you kind of freak out a little bit, or did you feel like you were comfortable enough with the track to where no matter if it was downpour or green, I mean,
well,
what was your
sort
feel
of
at the
had like
start?
a mixed setup, mainly for me. Dry conditions. Just adjusted more wing on it. It worked out good.
Nice. Well, kudos to your. I think this is your first win in Tier 5. So good job putting in the practice, putting in time, and really maximizing the effort, and being able to come away with the victory today was very good to see.
Thanks.
No problem. Go ahead and close this out, Titan.
Well, that concludes the race at Hungary. Very wet and then very dry, and a very interesting robot driver. This is BRL signing off. Have a good night, everyone.